Now, I haven't done a video in a while. But I watched this video with the Minority Mindset guy, Jaspreet. Anyways, I saw someone actually spell his name, and I'm obviously pronouncing it wrong, I think, but anyways, that's why I just call him the .Indian Guru guy at the Minority Mindset. But anyways, from what I understand, during quantitative easing, you want to invest in paper assets, and during quantitative tightening, you want to invest in renewable assets, if I understand the system correctly. Or it's the other way around, I can't remember. So we'll have to do some research on that. But basically, yeah, but at the beginning of quantitative tightening, if we would have bought more silver and gold, especially silver at this point, and maybe even real estate, then the value would have went up. Silver right now is $72 an ounce. It's insane. So my silver has, some of my silver that I bought at $25 an ounce has tripled in value. And the stuff I bought at about $35 an ounce has doubled in value. So, yeah, doing pretty good with my silver. I mean, I don't have a shit ton of silver. I just have maybe 50, somewhere between, maybe about 50 ounces. I'll probably have about 50 ounces. So, so that's about $3,500 worth of silver. Not enough to really brag about, but you know, if it gets up to the silver gets up to the gold prices, then I'd be doing really good. But anyways, I haven't updated anything recently because I've had some major drama go on in my real world on my farm. You know, people who've been following me know that we bought this property in Collins, owner finance, and the people turned out to be scammers, and we almost got screwed over, but we fought and we won. We just closed on the property about a week or two ago. 2 weeks. So the property is officially ours. We still got to get the mobile home out of foreclosure, but that's going to be easy. I cashed out a little bit of my dividend stocks, my ZEM to be exact, to help me pay for this mobile home. We was going to try to pay cash, and I'm scratching up funds, paying down the credit cards, not investing as much in the dividend stocks right now so we can get that mobile home out of foreclosure. And then we'll own everything free and clear, 100%. The only problem was we will have a clouded title on the property, so we couldn't use the equity in the land to finance the mobile home. So we either have to finance the mobile home through someone else or pay cash. So we decided to go the cash route. However, I hit a snafu, a big one. So I got my Stockton property, and I was going to keep my animals there, and Laura was going to have her animals on the Collins property. Because, quite frankly, I don't have proper fencing on the Collins property to move my livestock there. I mean, it's 30 acres, but it's got barbed wire and crappy field fence for fencing. On my Stockton property, it's only 15 acres, but I've got goat fence pretty much all the way around. Sheep and goat fence. So, but I got these new psycho neighbors I've been having problems with, and it just escalated to the 19th degree. So we've had problems with predators, so we thought, on the land, killing our birds, which is mostly Laura's birds, and killing our baby lambs and baby goats, which are mostly mine. Well, pretty much all mine. And at first we just thought it was maybe coyotes, but we weren't 100% sure. We had a feeling it was the neighbor's dogs, but we weren't 100% sure. And the neighbors kept saying it was coyotes because they were picking off coyotes in the back, you know. But I never had a coyote problem before. Not to say I don't have a coyote problem now, but I never had a coyote problem before. And if I did, it was rare. So rare that I didn't notice. Okay? But ever since these new neighbors moved in, all of a sudden I got this huge coyote problem. But they also have dogs. And so, but we never had any proof. We never had any evidence until about a week ago. We finally caught their dogs on our property killing and trying to kill our livestock. And most of the birds. So we didn't have any baby lambs. We only had one baby goat at the time. But I got a llama recently to help protect the sheep. But she rejected the sheep, and now she hangs out with the goats. So she's kind of defective. But, and I don't know how well she's been warding off the dogs or coyotes. Nonetheless, my girlfriend, a friend of ours and his girlfriend were on the land, and they saw two dogs. One ran off, the other one didn't. The one that ran off was obviously the smarter one. And the dumber one stuck around and still kept trying to kill more livestock. And our friend was going to shoot the dog. And, but my girlfriend spared its life, and so my friend, wanted to spare its life. So my friend shot a shot into the ground to just scare it off. And it worked. Meanwhile, we have documented evidence that their dogs, especially the one, were on our land, killing and trying to kill more birds. We don't know, we don't have 100% proof that they've been killing my lambs or my baby goats. But the goats are tougher than the sheep, that's for sure. But since last winter, I haven't had any babies born that I take that back. Darlene had a couple babies, and then they disappeared. And in trouble, we knew she was pregnant, but we thought she had a miscarriage because we never saw her give birth. Of course, I'm a truck driver, I'm on the road. And my girlfriend has been moving her birds to Collins, so she doesn't go to the Stockton property as much anymore. So she's not there every day like she used to be. And so as far as we know, we only had 2 babies born since last winter, and they disappeared. And all my lambs disappeared last spring, except for one, because we locked him and his mother up over at my Kaplinger property, which is only like a half an acre, which ain't much. So I can't move all my animals over there, but I could, move a mom and her babies over there, which is what I did. So we saved his life. But anyway, so we got the remaining birds out of there after we caught their dogs killing the birds. I had just recently bought 3 turkeys for we had a tom show up. We thought it was a wild tom, but it turned out it was the south neighbor's tom that flew the coop and ended up coming to our place and hanging out at our place. And I had Bumblefoot, but we kind of took care of it. It wouldn't let us touch him. But we fed him and we gave him medicated water, and we nursed him back to health the best we could. It took him about a month or 2, but he recovered. And he basically stuck around. So I bought him 3 females. And the dogs came over and killed 2 of them. So we got the last female out of there, took her to the Collins property. And we were going to try to catch the tom. But now we think he's dead. We don't have any proof, we don't have any real evidence, but it looks like, because he was over by, the feathers were over by the neighbor's fence line, or mine and the neighbor's fence line, and it looks like the turkey was blown to bits by a shotgun. But I don't know. I'm not there. My brother was there, he took pictures, and I'll be home this Friday, or this coming Friday. Today's Sunday. I'll be home Friday to take some goats to the auction. So basically, they're trying to force me out because they've been giving me all these problems, and then ever since we caught their dog killing our birds, they've been treating us even more worse. Just blatantly, verbally attacking us and calling us all kinds of names and threatening us. Yesterday, I think it was, my brother was there, 2 days ago, my brother was there trying to catch one of our sheeps that just had a baby, because we didn't want their dogs coming over and killing it again. Or coyotes, or whatever the heck is killing our animals. So we ended up trying to catch it to take it to the Collins property. I bought some GPS shot collars, and since I don't have proper fencing, I figure, well, maybe I'll try out these GPS shot collars, dog collars, and see if they'll work on the sheep and goats. That being said, I can't keep as many, so because I can't afford that many shot collars. So I'm only keeping the friendly ones that will allow Laura to change their collars, because she's the one who's going to be there 99% of the time. I'm out here on the road driving truck. So if they won't let her change their collar, and they won't obey their collar and stay within the border, then I'm going to have to take them to auction. So I'm only taking 3 sheep to Collins, and I have them there now. And I'm taking 5 goats, which I would only take 3, but 2 of them are old and pretty much retired, so I kind of hate to take them to auction. Yeah. So we'll see how they do. If obey their collars, and Laura can't. They don't obey the perimeter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to at least put shock collars on a couple of them, and then the ones I don't put collars on should stay with the ones that I do put collars on. So we'll see how that works out. If it don't work out, I have to take them to auction. So these new psycho neighbors are pretty much running me out of my property. They've been trying to lowball me and get my property from me. They've also been harassing some of the other neighbors because they want their property as well. So they're halfway winning. They kind of are running me off. And I was going to liquidate. I was just going to sell the property, but I wasn't going to sell it to them. You know, they want to pay me only $2,000 an acre when my property's worth $8,000 an acre. So yeah, I was just gonna put it on the market and sell it to the highest bidder and sit on it until somebody buys it. And I told them I would sell it to the other neighbor that they begged me not to sell my property to before I will sell it to them. They can shove it up their ass. But anyhow, so my brother says, hey, I want to do the storage unit business. And I'm like, okay, as long as you want to run it. I don't want to run it. You know, I've been trying to hustle. I've been trying to be a businessman for the last, 30 years since I was... Actually, I had my own business. I had my first business when I was a little kid. The school, I was in Germany. My dad was in the military. I was in Germany. And the school was selling like Blow Pops and Tootsie Pops for, like 15 cents or something like that, if I remember right, a piece. Well, my dad, being in the military, we went to the commissary and I could buy a whole box for, I think it was like 10 cents a piece and no tax because, he was part of the government. So the government, military people didn't have to pay tax. They had to pay income tax, but they didn't have to pay sales tax, I guess. I don't know how it works exactly, but we didn't have to pay tax on groceries.
Speed warning.
Yeah, I'm slowing down. So I bought these 2 boxes of Tootsie Pops and Blow Pops for 5 cents a piece, no tax. Turned around and sold them for 10 cents a piece, and basically undercut the school and was making a profit. That was my first business. And I was in elementary school at the time. I don't know how old I was. I was 11 when we came back from Germany, so I was about 9 or 10 at this time. Then when we moved to Oklahoma, I did some lawn mowing and stuff like that, but then they had these curved driveways where people painted their house numbers on the curb of their driveway. And so I had this idea where I basically bought some numbers and some spray paint and a shoebox. I took like a shoebox and went around and was knocking on doors, offering to spray paint people's numbers on their curbs. And I don't remember exactly what I was charging, but I think I was charging $10 for one side, and $15 for both sides, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what I charged, but I was making bank. Whatever I was charging, I can't remember what I was charging exactly, but I made a shit ton of money doing that. I probably made more money as a businessman as a child than I did as a businessman as an adult. But anyways, so I've always been a hustler. And as an adult, I just felt like all of my... So long story short, my dad, growing up, I had all these ideas. I was an idea person. Still am. And so when I was a kid, I had all these ideas, and my dad thought they were stupid ideas, and I wanted to, make them happen. Then throughout the years, I saw other people make millions of dollars off the same ideas. And I'm like, wait, I could be rich. So after that, when I became an adult, I was like, I'm never going to let my ideas go to waste. And I've been broke ever since, trying to make money off my ideas. I think my biggest problem was I had too many irons in the fire. And, I just was trying to make too many things happen at once. Like one guy told me, he says, you can't serve more than one God. When I was doing multi-level, he says, you can't do 2 multi-levels or 3 multi-levels. You can only do 1. You can't have more than one God. And kind of makes sense. But at the same time, I thought, well, some of these other guru people have, a business that owns 25 businesses. Why can't I? But I couldn't make it work. I didn't have the wherewithal. I just don't have what it takes to be the businessman. My brother probably has more of what it takes than I do, but maybe together we might make the perfect team. Problem is, my brother has tried to dominate me most of my life, or half of my life. We never did get along. We used to fight. He literally tried to kill me a few times, and I had to defend myself. I'd be dead right now by my own brother. My brother's name should be Cain, and I should be Abel. He tried to kill me several times. Anyways, one time he came at me with the double-bladed axe. Another time he came at me with a knife and cut me across my face. Those are 2 major times I remember. There was other fights too. But those are the 2 major ones that I remember. So let's just say a couple times he tried to kill me. And, yeah, I had to fight for my life growing up. But anyways, my brother's a lot better now. He's reformed. And he still tries to dominate me a little bit, but not near as much as he used to. But I pretty much have been the boss. I've pretty much been running the show. But now I'm done. I'm just done. I'm tired. Just burned out. I just want to liquidate everything, put all my money in dividend stocks, and disappear. But then my brother wanted to do this boat storage idea, and I'm like, well, we do need them in our area. The ones in our area are always booked. They have a waiting list. I'm glad I got mine when I did. But so my brother wants to do this, and I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm not going to be doing anything with that land anymore. I was going to sell it. So we're going to move the land into a family trust, and we're going to sit down 1 week from now with my attorney. We're going to sit down with my attorney. We're going to set up a family trust. We're going to move our assets into the family trust. We're going to set up 3 LLCs, or my brother's girlfriend says we should do an S-corp. So we'll talk to the attorney, and my accountant, and see what we need to do. Because I have a CPA. She's pretty smart. She'll be able to tell us where to go and how to get there. So between my business attorney and my CPA, I think we'll be okay. Anyhow, so we're going to move our assets into the family trust. We're going to create 3 businesses. One business is going to run the storage unit business. And then my brother will have his own business. I'll have my own business. So my brother later wants to expand. My brother's a go big or go home kind of guy. Not me. I'm more of a diversify and chill kind of guy. I used to be more go big, but not go big or go home. I was more like one of Donald Trump's favorite sayings is think big and live large. I'm more of that mindset than I am go big or go home. So my brother and I have a little bit different strategies, but for the most part, we're a lot alike, and it's probably why we bucked heads for so many years. My brother's just a little bit more alpha dominant than I am. I've never been a beta, but I'm also not an alpha. I'm somewhere in between. And but anyways, so yeah, I'm getting pushed out of my 15 acres because the new psycho neighbors are stealing or killing or both, them and their dogs, stealing and killing my livestock. And I got some valuables there too that I'm worried about. And I'm out here on the road, I can't be there to babysit it. If I was there to babysit it, it'd be different. But I'm not. And my brother came down from Kansas City to be with me, to be near me, and to help me grow my legacy. My legacy is pretty much dead, and I don't have anybody to will my legacy to except my brother's kids. So, and I'm pretty much done. I'm burned out. I've already said that a time or two. So, I'm just keeping enough livestock to provide food for the family. And that's it. So I'm only keeping a few sheep and goats. I'm selling off a third. I'm taking the other third to the butcher. And I'm keeping a third just for food. And that's it. If they don't obey their shock collars, I'm getting rid of them too. At least till I can afford to put up fencing. So my brother wants to do this. I'm like, fine, that's cool. As long as you want to take the lead, we'll split it 60-40. You get 60, I'll take 40. I'll help you. I'll be the wind beneath your wings. I've got knowledge. I've got experience. I've got connections. I've got people. And we can split the cost 50-50. And you do most of the work. You keep 60%. I'll take 40. I'll just be like a silent partner. And I said, this is your baby now. So, yeah. He won't have to worry about paying. Well, he'll once the biz, he'll have to help me make the land payments. But he's basically going to get the land for half. No, not even half. For like a quarter of what it's worth. And he only has to pay half of that because I'm going to keep paying the other half. So it's a win-win for both of us, really. Because his kids are going to inherit all my shit anyway, so might as well, let him help him build his legacy. And because it's his kids who's going to get everything. So yeah, I wish I would have known all this stuff 20, 30 years ago. I'd been retired already. I wouldn't have wasted as much time and money in all of these business adventures. What I always tell people is, now that I figured this out, or starting to figure it out, I mean, I'm not like a guru guy like Just Bleat, or this other guy that they have been talking about. Let me go over here real quick. I'm going to start making a list of investor guru guys. So in that comment section, a lot of people were talking about this guy. So look into this guy. I'm going to start following him as well. And I found some more hidden dividend stocks. Hang on, let me go over here. So here's some more hidden dividend stocks. You might screenshot this and come back to it later. In fact, I'll move this little dot over here so it's not in the way. Give it a minute so you can screenshot that. Alright. So basically what I do is I basically start out with the highest yielding dividend stocks. And anything that these dividend stock guru guys, investor guru guys suggest to invest in, I invest in those too. And then I also looked up carbon credit stocks because I am a conspiracy theorist or a conspiracy realist. I don't know which one you would want to refer to me as. You know, it's like I started implementing this after, I don't know if I can get away with saying this without censorship anymore, but we're going to abbreviate C-19 pandemic during 2020, 2021, 2022. You know, it's like I was warning people about this stuff because I'm a freedom fighter, truth seeker, blah, blah, blah. And I think Jess Fleet is also because of the way he talks. But in a nutshell, I've been talking about this for years. It's like as a conspiracy theorist, you know, all these things that I've been warning people against, I should be putting my money in them because nobody listens. You know, the New World Order, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They keep winning and we keep losing as a people. So it's like, well, they have money in these stocks that they're basically pushing. All these agendas that you see on the news and all these agendas that these government officials are pushing, they got money in those stocks. And maybe we should too. Whether we are for or against them, you know, if you're out there preaching against this stuff and people are not listening to you, maybe you should be buying that stock so you can make money off the idiots. That's my theory. So anyways, because, you know, they're pushing an agenda so they can make money off the stocks of the agenda. So watch the news for that reason. What is the agenda? What are they pushing? Where should you be putting your money? So, carbon credit is something they've been pushing for quite a while. So I've been buying carbon credit stocks as well as other stocks. So I've got a lot of things in my portfolio, as you can see. My brother only has like a dozen. My brother is, like I said, go big or go home. I'm more about diversification. So I have most of my money in Sun Communications, EETH, which is a Bitcoin, no, that's a Ethernet ETF, BITO, which is a Bitcoin ETF, KLIP, which is a Chinese internet technology company, ORC. It used to have a bunch of money in Zem, but I cashed it out. So I didn't realize I had this much money in SUI. Oh no, wait a minute. That's just... Oh no, wow, okay. I guess my stock grew a lot. Holy smacks. So I bought $31 worth of this stock. And it exploded. It's now worth $1,500. This is the first time this has happened to me. I mean, I made some decent money off Zim, but not like this. That's crazy. I'm going to screenshot that and send it to my brother. I'm going to use this as my cover photo. Wow. That's pretty good. So anyways, yeah, you can make some decent money off day trading, but I try to only day trade or, treat, I wouldn't say day trade. Basically, I treat my portfolio kind of like an emergency fund. They say, oh, you should have money in an emergency fund. Well, if I put all my money in dividend stocks, then I make more money off my emergency fund than if I put it in the bank. So why not put it there? Like Zim pays on average 30% dividend yield. It fluctuates, but on average it's paying 30%. I'll never get that at the bank. So if I put the money in Zim and the stock goes up, plus I'm making 30% dividends off of it, then boom, I'm doing pretty good. So I have used Zim and PBR as kind of like a savings account in the past for my emergency funds, because they're stable. Their stock goes up and down, but they're pretty stable companies. And if I need the money, I can almost always count on them for the stock to be up, and I can cash them out, pay for what I need to pay for, what I need to pay for, and then start building that stock back up again. So certain companies I will use as a day trade, but I also get dividends from them. So I'm using it more like an emergency fund. So yeah, I got an extra $1,500 here I can use if I wanted. But I don't think I'm going to touch it just yet. Let's go look at their profile. So basically what I do, that's weird. It doesn't look like the stock went up that much. It's got to be a glitch, unless I bought stock way back when. Well, anyways, I'm not going to touch it because it's going to pay me $1 per share. Well, I guess it's not going to pay me that much in dividends. Because I only have 12 shares, it's only $12. But is that monthly? Quarterly. So, even though this says it's paying %17 dividend. No, that's dividend growth. Yield. Oh, okay. It's only paying 3% dividend, but I'm getting a 165% dividend yield on cost and a 17% dividend growth. That's pretty good. And then, like I said, my stock went up almost 5,000%. Which doesn't make sense looking at this over here, but whatever. Maybe it's a glitch. But basically what I do when I get paid my dividends, I'll go over here and I'll look at the stock. If the stock is down, well okay, first I'll look at this. It says it's paying 3%. Well, right now I'm not investing in 3% stocks, especially if the stock is up, like right now. So, I'll go over here and I'll look at the stock over the last 5 years. If it's down for the last 5 years, I only throw in $3. If it's up for the last 5 years, then I'll throw in $30. And that's basically how I invest. If it looks like it's a long-term stable stock, I invest more. If it looks like it's not, I still invest, but I invest less. Another thing to look at is earnings per share, which I used to look at, but I stopped looking at this for a while. I'm going to start doing it again. Some stocks won't show you earnings per share, some will. Some show you a PE ratio. And I don't know how to read the PE ratio yet, but I'm working on trying to figure that out. It's a little confusing. But the earnings per share is easier to figure out. If it's in a negative, you don't want to buy it. Or if you do buy it, buy less. So in this case, it's only 3%. It's only paying 3%, so I'm only going to invest $3, especially since the earnings per share is down. But like I said, right now I'm not investing in 3% stocks. Right now I'm trying to get my debt paid down, so I'm only investing in dividends that pay more than the interest rate on my debt. So if the yield is higher than the interest rate on my debt, I'm investing in those dividend stocks at this moment. Later, when I get my debt down, say my debt's only 4%, like right now on my land, my interest rate's only 4%. Once I get rid of my credit card debt, which I'm getting closer to, once I get rid of my pickup truck payment, which I'm pretty close to, my highest interest rate on my debt will be 4%. So at that point, I'll be investing in anything that pays more than 4% or 5%, whatever. So, yeah. But these lower yielding dividend stocks can be useful for purposes. These lower yielding, okay, so lower yielding dividend stocks are more what they call growth stocks. Typically, not 100%, but typically, you can expect a lower yielding dividend stock to be a growth stock. So it's going to grow in value. So you're going to be mostly looking at cash value in that stock. Now, I'm not sure, like this only paid 3%, and I only had 12 shares. And now my 12 shares is worth, $1,500, where before it was only worth $30. I don't know how much more that's going to pay me in dividends than it did before, because I still have the same amount of shares as I did before. They're just worth more now. But I won't make any more off dividends than I did before, from what I gather. So in order to make money off the stock, I would have to cash it out. So the way I see it, and I'm still learning, I'm not a guru guy, but the way I see it is the higher yielding dividend stocks are for passive income. The lower yielding dividend stocks are for growth, day trading. I would not day trade a stock that does not pay dividends. Unless it's like Tesla. There's a couple few that I might. But for the most part, if it don't pay dividends, I'm not paying attention to it. And these lower yielding dividend stocks could be used better for emergency funds, a savings account, as long as they pay a better yield than the bank. And because now I got an extra $1,500 I didn't have before, if I wanted to cash it out. So and I did cash out that Zem money to help pay for the mobile home. But now that I'm having problems with these psycho neighbors, we're gonna have to. I don't have electricity on that land. When I first started it, it was supposed to be an off-grid organic farm and retreat. It was going to be a sustainable community. I was going to drill for water eventually, but all the electricity was going to be solar and wind. We were going to do earth batteries. We was going to try to figure out, my project I wanted to figure out was how to create a plasma generator. A plasma generator is basically just a glorified battery. So it's a battery that kind of recharges itself, so you don't have to, which is freaking awesome. So it would depend on how much load you're putting on it, but it's like, if you don't have wind and you don't have solar, say it's not a sunny day, but it's also not a windy day, and you have all your batteries as plasma batteries, then they would still maintain themselves, or they would drain slower, if you know what I mean. And so that was what I wanted to do. That was one of my goals I wanted to try out. I'm kind of like a dumber version of Tesla, the original Tesla. Tesla was kind of like a genius, like Einstein, but probably better. And and I got all these ideas, but I just don't have the wherewithal to make them happen. So now I'm just going to dump all my money in dividend stocks, which is what Tesla should have did. If he would have invested all of his money into these big business guru people, and then take that money that he got from the big business guru people and invested it into his ideas, then he wouldn't have died poor like he did. And then the government wouldn't have been able to come in and steal all of his ideas. He would have been able to pass it on to the next generation. So, yeah, it's like one of the guys funding Tesla was like, he came back with the, because Tesla was trying to create free energy, and I don't remember who it was, Rockefeller or some other guru guy, but he came back and says, well, where do I put the meter? How do we meter this so we can make some money off of it? And he was like, oh, we're not supposed to make money off of it. It's supposed to be free energy for everybody. And so then the guy pulled his funding. What Tesla should have done was put all of his money into these guru guys' dividend stocks, and then take that money and invest it into his ideas. Knowing what I now know, that's what I should have done instead of living the last 30 years, 20, 30, 40. Yeah, the last 30 years broke. Should have took all my money, invested in dividend stocks, retired early, and then pursued my dreams and ideas. Because I'd have all the money to do it. I wouldn't have to worry about struggling. I'd have all the time, and I have all the money to do what I wanted to do. And so if you're young and you're watching this, listening to this, that's what you need to do. Work, invest every penny you can. Get the best paying job you can get your hands on. Live as poor and broke as possible. Put as much money into dividend stocks as you possibly can. Make money out these guru guys. Then take that money later and invest it into your ideas so you can be happy and successful like the other people. Because what I figured out is there's two types of people. There's predators and parasites. The big business gurus, not all of them, but a lot of them, are the predators. I'm sorry, predator and prey. There's two types of predators. You have your predators, then you have your parasites. So, these big guru guys and the government, officials basically set up this system to where the middle class is the prey. And technically the lower class is the prey also, but none of us really realize it. And the predators set up the system so that the parasites and the predators can feed off of the rest of us. So if you're not the predator nor the parasite, you need to start investing in dividend stocks so you can get back some of that money that these predators are getting from us. Because they're making money out the parasites too. They implement all this stuff. They use the parasites to get money out of us. So it's like Reaganomics, the trickle-up theory. So if we invest in dividend stocks, that's the only true trickle-down theory. So they're getting all this money from us, we the people, but then if we are part owners in some of these companies that they own, then we get some of the trickle down. So it's like a trickle up and a trickle down theory all in one. So dividend stocks is the true trickle down theory, I think. So if you're in the middle class and you want a piece of the pie, dividend stocks is the way to go. I wouldn't buy real estate right away. I already have real estate, so that's the only reason why we're doing this. But if I didn't already have the real estate, I wouldn't go out and buy the real estate, if that makes sense. I would have been like, you know what? I would have let my brother do 99% of this stuff. I'd have let my brother buy the land. I'd let my brother build the real estate. Let my brother build everything. And then I'd just be on salary and just help him out, when I have time. And I'd just work and put all my money into dividend stocks. Because I'm done farming. Well, I'm not done, but I'm done farming on a large scale. I have a website, meatmilkghost.com, and basically my idea, my dream, my goal was to raise goat meat, butcher goat meat, and I was gonna go buy me a little ice cream truck and convert it to a meat truck and drive around selling meat at like flea markets and shit like that. And that was gonna be pretty much my retirement plan. Then I discovered dividend stocks, and that was gonna be also part of my retirement plan. But that dream is over. Now I'm just pretty much doing dividend stocks. And I got 30 acres. I could probably do it again later once I get more fencing up. But right now I can't afford it. So once we get the business loan to go in and clear out my land and put up better fencing, I'm going to take my goat fence down and take it to my new property. But it still won't be enough to fence 30 acres. It might maybe be enough to fence 5 or 10 acres. Because what we're gonna do is my land, my 15 acres is 2 parcels. And so we're just gonna do the front parcel first. And then we'll get a loan to do the front parcel. We'll clear it, push everything back to the back parcel, put up fencing, put in gravel, start allowing people to park boats and RVs and big trucks there. And then when we pay back the loan for that, for the land clearing, the gravel, and the fencing, then we'll get another loan to put up buildings. And then once those buildings pay off the loan, then we'll start clearing the back. But the back we can't use as much because there's the beginnings of a dry creek in the back. So we'll probably only be able to use half of the back parcel. So it's in our best interest just to do the front parcel first. We can rent out the back parcel as farmland to someone else who wants to deal with it. Because I'm done. I'm just going to take a few sheep and goats to Collins and just raise my own food. I'm not going to try to go big. And I'm just going to help my brother build this storage unit business. And then I also have another 20 acres that I own 10% of. When I first moved down, I got scammed into this other community project, sustainable community project, and I still own 10% of the land. So we're going to start trying to buy out the other owners in the land. And then once we get my land totally converted to storage units, we might still keep the Dry Creek area as like a little mini refuge for wild animals or something. Maybe let somebody rent it for livestock. Who cares? I don't care. But it'll only be like half of 7 acres, or maybe even less than that. So it won't be very much acreage, like maybe 3 acres of the Dry Creek. Wouldn't be much for running livestock. So it might more or less just be a safe haven for animals. Or it might be a place we can go hunt, you know? Because there's a bluff there and it's a good place to set up a hunting, a place to hunt. But anyhow, with the problems I'm having with the neighbors though, probably not going to be doing that unless those neighbors leave. And with my brother's idea, they might not like it. And they might end up selling and moving. And that'd be good for us. So, anyway, back over to this. So long story short, this is how I'm doing. I got $15,000 invested. I've cashed out some of it, made money. My current investment's only worth $3,500. I've got 13,500. I've got 15,600 invested. My total profit is almost 1,500. My dividends are 3,300 a year. So I make about $4,000 a year or a month. I would like to make more, but I make about $4,000 a month. So I've almost replaced 1 month's income. And basically what I do, I just start with the highest yielding dividend stocks. And work my way down. And so I did put a lot of money into BITO and EETH. And Zim. Zim paid me back. Zim made me money. But basically I don't reinvest until I get paid. So instead of doing a drip, the automatic drip, I do a manual, what I call a manual drip. And so when I get paid, we'll go to Cash App since I don't have to enter any passwords there. I'm cashing out all my stocks with Cash App because it's not compatible with my Snowball app. But for example, all right. Okay. So these guys pay me $6.65 in dividends. IEP. I looked them up. They pay about 28% dividend, but the stock is down, so I only put in 28 bucks. Sold that one. That was a buyout. They basically went bankrupt. I'm pretty much just using Cash App like PayPal now. Just once the stock goes up, I'm cashing it out and just using the money to pay bills, basically. Alright, so this one here, Flagstar Bank, paid me 1 penny. So I went and looked, it paid about 1%, so I bought $1 worth. Because the stock is down. If the stock was up, I would have put in $10 worth. Up for the 5 years. I look at the 5-year history. So if it's up for 5 years but down for the year, I'll still invest the more money because it looks like it's a stable stock and it's probably going to go back up and then I'll make money. You know, if the stock is down over the last 5 years, I'm only going to throw in maybe a couple bucks, and if I lose a couple bucks, I lose a couple bucks. I'm not losing very much. So it's more of a gamble but I'm gambling with less money, if that makes sense. So those 3 stocks, 4 stocks, ended up paying dividends. Here they are. So I went and looked at the percentages. Stocks were down.
Speed warning.
So I basically just bought $4. This stock was about 4%. I bought $4. This stock was about 9%. Threw in $9. This stock was about 5%. Threw in $5. Wendy's was about 8%. So I threw in $8. And so when the stocks go back up, I cash them out. It's like these 2, they're sitting at a penny profit, but it charges me a penny or 2 when I cash out the stock. So I wait till it gets at least 3 to 4 cents profit before I cash it out. And then I'm making money. Not much, but at least I'm breaking even and making a tiny bit of profit. If we go, all these stocks here I don't care about too much anymore. But whenever I do sell the stock here, I also go to Robinhood or Webull and buy at least $1 worth of that stock, so I have it in my database. So I'm not losing out 100%. I'm still reinvesting the money. I'm not just cashing it all out. I'm reinvesting some of it. But like I said, if it pays less than 20%, I'm not reinvesting in it right now. And if it is a day trade, and this is something I talked about doing in the future, if it is a day trade, then what I'll probably end up doing, like there's this American Bitcoin something or other that Donald Trump supposedly owns. And this guy was like, oh yeah, you should buy this, you should buy this, you should buy this. And so my brother and I went out and bought some. I bought 10 shares, my brother bought 20 shares. And the stock dropped. It's now worth half as much as it was before. We should have waited. But if the stock goes back up like that guy says it will, then we stand to make some decent money off of it. But basically day trades, I'm going to throw in $10 worth, or I might maybe buy 10 shares like Bitcoin. If I had 10 Bitcoins, I could sell them today and pretty much retire. So with digital currency, what I'm trying to do now, and just regular stocks, is try to buy just 10 shares minimum. And then if they skyrocket like this company did, then I stand to make money. I only have 12 shares there, and it made me $1,500. Not too bad. Now, digital currency will probably do a lot better than that. But even still, if these guys become the next Amazon, but it doesn't look like they will, it looks like it's a REIT. Yeah, it's a real estate stock, so it's probably a REIT, real estate investment trust. But yeah, if this company becomes like huge, then I'll have a ton of money in cash value, and then I can cash it out, roll it over into a better dividend stock. you know.
Speed warning.
But maybe later they'll start paying better dividends, so I might just leave it there. Because from what I understand, REITs have to pay their shareholders 10% of the profit. Now we have to share that 10%, so yeah. If the profit's only 10%, we're only going to make 1%. So these guys are, probably making 30% return on their investments. And so we're getting 10% of that, which is 3%. So, but yeah, if these guys start making 100% return on their investment, then we'll start making 10% on it. And that's basically how it works. That's how REITs work anyway. Anyways, I guess that's it. But that's how I've been able to grow my dividends. I just buy a little bit of everything, and I just buy stocks that pay more dividend yield than the interest rate on my debt. And as I get my debt paid down, then I'll buy more stocks because I'll have less debt and less interest on my debt. So once it gets down to no debt, then I'll be investing in all of the dividend yielding stocks. And once I'm able to have more time to sit down with this on a computer and study and analyze this, then I'll be zeroing in on the more stable stocks and taking my higher yielding stocks and dumping that money into my more stable stocks for long-term success. Because if I'm only going to get 1% off of a stable stock, I'm going to need $10 million in order to retire, so where am I going to generate $10 million? I'll have to invest in some higher yielding dividend stocks to help me come up with that money. So invest in everything, and then put more money into the ones that you deem to be more stable, and put less into the ones that look more risky. Just because it pays a higher dividend doesn't mean it's risky. But chances are it's going to be more risky than the lower dividend ones. But just because it's got a low dividend yield doesn't mean it's not risky. It can be risky too. Everything is risky, but some just have higher risks than others. So I'm still learning, but I think maybe I'm figuring it out. We'll see. Alright, my girlfriend's calling me again. I better answer this time. This is the third time she's trying to call. Alright, bye.